About my new Hogan irons. People wanted to basically see them in a video so they can get a better look at them. And I wanted to show some of the differences. First of all, we got my Hogan iron is going to be at the grip, in the white grip on the left. And then I got a Mizuno iron, a Mizuno MP62 on the grip that's in black on the right. It's a cord grip. You can see they are the same length. But as you can see, the one on the left is the Hogan, it's a 3-iron, and the one on the right is a 5-iron. So it's kind of one of the things I don't like about where a lot of club fitting is going these days. They're basically just making the clubs long as they possibly can, and I don't think that really helps the golfer out in the end. If we were to take to my actual 5-iron from the Hogan, I mean, it is much shorter, obviously. Also, you notice another thing too, is that, yeah, I'll use the 3-iron. Is the hosel on the Hogan, which is on the left, it's quite a bit longer. I heard Hogan did that to help out with his hook a little bit, and he kind of liked that. The other thing I want to talk about is the leading edge. You'll see this leading edge, it's sharp. I mean, if I was going to compare them, I know this is a 3-iron and a 5-iron, but actually the 3-iron should have more bounce than a 5-iron, but it doesn't in this case. Now I actually I really like these leading edges. They are sharp. I mean, and I think they cut through fairway grass just a little bit better. And I think it's one of those things where back then clubs were made for the golfer to find a way to hit them properly. Now today, the equipment is fitted so the golfer, so it can fit the golfer instead of the golfer fitting the equipment. I do think these Hogans are a little bit too short, but you know, they're 37.5 inches for the 5-iron. It probably should be about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch more. But on the same token, these Mizunos are way too long. But I think with these leading edges, I think are really important because, as Tom Wishon said, he said, you know, he figured that any other golfer that had leading edges that sharp that Hogan had, and I mean, these are sharp. He said they'd hit the ball fat 80% of the time, and I kind of disagree with him. I've not had a problem with them as far as hitting them fat, but I do believe that they make me a little bit more mindful of the low point and hitting the ball first and then taking a divot, and I think that really helps. And I really think a lot of tour pros would like these sharp leading edges, but they probably never played golf with irons that have sharp leading edges, so they don't know what it's like. And instead of get them ground that way, they just go with what they've always had, which is golf clubs with a lot of bounce on them and some offset. And I think they're kind of missing out on stuff they don't know about. Instead, they're going after Ping I2 square grooves, which I really don't think are going to help them at all. What I wanted to talk about was, you know, these clubs don't look too bad to hit. They really don't. I mean, here's a 7-iron. Here's a 5-iron. One thing I did find interesting is, again, here's the 7-iron, and then we'll compare it to the 8-iron. I can get them squared up here. So you can see this 8-iron is very sorry about that. It's very round. Very round. And you can definitely see it from the back. And I was kind of skeptical about that at first, because the 8, 9, and pitching wedge are all around like that. Here's the pitching wedge. Very round. Here's the 9 iron. I was skeptical about that, but actually I really like these short irons. The trajectory is just excellent out of it. It goes really about the perfect height. It goes a little bit lower than I would say probably average, and definitely flies lower than my Mizuno short irons. But it doesn't go too low, and it just has a nice flight to it. And I think, knowing Hogan the way he was, he probably figured that if you could make those short irons rounded like that, you could probably move the center of gravity up on it and get that low boring ball flight. But that's all I had to say. I wish you really got to kind of feel these leading edges for yourself to understand how sharp they are. I mean, they are sharp. There's the pitching wedge. It should be, but they're sharp from 2 iron on through. Let's see if I can get a look at the 2 iron for you. Yeah, here's the 2 iron. And where did it go there? Here is the, yep, that's the 2 iron. I mean, it's not an easy club to hit, but I love playing with on the range, because if you can hit that thing on the range pretty well, you can pretty much hit any club in the world. So that's about it. If you got any other questions, just add them here. Thanks.